Hello everyone, it's Karen Marie and I am the founder and principal Griot of The Culture of You, a transformational storytelling platform. I'm a community educator and culture bearer, facilitator, multi-hyphenate artist, and executive leadership professional. Today I have the honor of being joined with Valerie Boyer. Valerie Boyer-McBride is a woman of many callings. She's a vocalist, musician, dancer, poet, activist, minister, historian, youth advocate, and most of all, an educator. Born and raised in Galveston, Texas, and a proud graduate of Howard University. Presently, Valerie lives life as a cultural educator, Ohio's youngest Smithsonian affiliate, third youngest Smithsonian affiliate in the country, and CNN's #2 40 Under 40 Historian of the Year. Valerie is a proud wife to William McBride and proud bonus mom to two amazing children. Enjoy. All right, Valerie, we've gotten into all the logistics, but let's talk a little bit. First and foremost, what is Juneteenth? I have dates. I have multiple dates. What is Juneteenth?
I am sure. Juneteenth is many things. Okay. That's why you have multiple dates. But specifically, the nationally recognized holiday that we celebrate, Juneteenth is June 19th, right? So it is a combination of June and the 19th together, right?
Yeah.
Juneteenth is the day that General Granger, along with 42,363 Black Union soldiers,
okay,
one of my favorite facts,
I love that,
literally sailed into Galveston, Texas, to read the Emancipation Proclamation, right? And so it had been rumored that it was coming because since the beginning of time, Black folks have always had a rumor mill. But now it was here. And so they sail into Galveston and they get off at what we call the docks, and they march all the way to what is still the Ashton Villa Mansion. And General Granger goes and he stands on the top of the balcony while reading the Emancipation Proclamation. But what has happened is from that walk from the docks all the way to Ashton Villa, it has turned into an informal parade, right? Because remember, it was rumored that it was coming, right? So you have enslaved people, you have all kinds of people who are waiting, and they stand and he's reading, and when they specifically get to the line in the Emancipation that says, henceforth shall now be and forevermore remain free, right? The oral history suggests that all of the parts that come after that, not many people heard it, right?
Right.
Because once he said that, people erupted. There is praise, there is lament, there is party, there is sad, there are all the things.
It's a big
all
moment.
the things happening. These 42,367 soldiers that rolled into Galveston with him, they basically are standing guard with what history's version of prepared to nuck if in fact you wanted to buck. Because these are now people who have official documentation naming them as freed people. And it is, I know that a lot of times it's referred to as an ending, and it is an ending of sorts, but it is the beginning, right, of this movement that happens. A lot of people know that Juneteenth, but there were still people in what would be today's U.S. territories that were still not free, right? But Juneteenth's movement is so just off the chain that these Union soldiers, along with these folks that have now been legally released, are moving into neighboring territories that are not owned by the U.S. to let other Black folks know that you don't have to live like this anymore, right? So Juneteenth is a complicated ending, but it is a beautiful beginning of agency and of storytelling and of doing what we've always been known to do, which is be free even before we were free.
There's that. So, okay, so we have the Emancipation Proclamation, January 1st, 1863.
Yes.
Okay, so then we have 1865, June 19th, of course. 1865 is when this is happening. We're being told. Some people did get told for maybe a year or four later. That's fine. We understand that communication was not as simple as it is today. What was going on in those 2 years?
It wasn't that it wasn't simple, it was intentional. So the delay by a year and a half The Emancipation Proclamation, it was dropped as a legal document on January 1st, 1863, but it was drafted in September of 1862, right? And so 1862 gets here. The draft of it has made enough publications and newspapers, our versions of them, at the time that people actually do know that this is coming, right? There's also a war, obviously, on the precipice that will be the Civil War. So what happens is, a lot of your slave owners who do not believe that at that time what will be the Confederacy of the United States is going to win, they actually move to Texas as the most western part state that geographically is the hardest to get to.
Okay.
Right? So that is what is going on. So December 31st, 1862 gets here, and persons that are in territories of Union, that's where we get our watch night service from. They literally watch for the night. They're waiting for midnight to drop for this legal document, right? A lot of those persons, when January 1st gets here, they intentionally go and enroll in the Civil War to fight on the side of the Union for freedom for persons that it had already been rumored were being moved to western parts of that version of the United States at the time.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So even that, as hard as it is, that agency of I'm gonna go and fight and make sure that you get this news because I know people are intentionally trying to keep it from you. So you have Civil War going on, but you also have the rumor mill going on, right? Which is a whole thing. You have the Underground Railroad network going on, and then you have these lined Negro spirituals and hymns that people are just assuming are biblical lore, right? And telling stories solely of heaven, which is soteriology, right? Not knowing that these things are infused with coded language.
Absolutely.
Of how to navigate towards freedom should you choose to, right? So you have this whole coded language being sung in the middle of this war. Ain't that peak black behavior?
It's very black behavior.
This whole coded language being sung in the middle of war.
We're gonna sing, we're gonna dance.
Correct. So that is what is happening. Around April 1865 gets here. The controversy of it all, enslaved folks in Texas just have an unction to start packing, start putting up stuff, start sending babies away, just start. So those are the things. There's war going on. There's this coded language happening in music going on. There's this enlisting in an army to make sure you get to your people going on. All of that is happening over what was a draft just 2.5 years prior.
Interesting. And as I think about like the Reconstruction, like we had, really two ports. Right, so we got Point Comfort and then the one in Hilton Head, so that area. Reconstruction happens. A lot of slave owners and plantation owners fled, right, and went north or east, right. And so we have that happening. We have then the Jim Crow laws happen, because anytime we do something that gives indigenous, native folks, black folks autonomy, we gotta take that back. We gotta take that back.
The deconstruction of Reconstruction.
Right. The deconstruction of Reconstruction. So really from then to now, and what are you seeing now that is like a repeat in some ways of that from the civil rights movement? Oh,
pick a thing at this point, but for the sake of this conversation, I will intentionally focus on the SAVE Act.
Yes.
That is a hill that I am willing to die on.
Okay.
That is a piece of legislation that specifically talks about the very limited parameters by which people will be allowed to vote and what is qualified as a valid ID. One of the things buried in the SAVE Act that I specifically want to mention, because it is being lauded right now as propaganda that solely affects immigrants. But if you know anything about connectivity, what affects one of us affects all of us, right? What is buried in that propaganda of the SAVE Act is that a marriage license is no longer considered a valid form of ID. 68% of black women that are married in America have dropped their last name and taken their husband's legal name. And so if your birth certificate or your social security card, these different approved means do not align with your married name, all of a sudden you have legally lost the right to vote. And that is just one of many provisions that is pushed as propaganda to only affect one group of people that actually affects 73% of the country.
And when were we allowed to vote, women?
Which ones?
The first, let's start with
which ones?
White women. Let's go white women.
White women had 1920. Indigenous women had 1924. Latino and Hispanic women do not have it until 1945. Black women specifically don't have it until 1965, but don't have to stop doing a literacy test until 1972.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
So my last question is, what are ways people can honor Juneteenth? People can be allies in pro-blackness and be aware of anti-blackness as a global construct. How can allies and people in perhaps the law sector be supportive of Juneteenth and the people that celebrate it?
Absolutely. The starting point that I'm going to give any person within law or without is to read the Emancipation Proclamation.
Nice.
Right? As someone who is from Galveston, for us, Juneteenth has never been a commercialized day. Right. It has always been a sacred day. It has always been a reverent day. We put it up there with holy holidays. Yeah. And so it starts with a reading and a reflection of the Emancipation. It is a hard read because listed in the Emancipation are the listed territories that are not free, that are not freed by this document, right? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that a lot of people don't realize that's included. So you read the Emancipation Proclamation. Another way that you can
that amended?
It didn't need to be for the Emancipation Proclamation because eventually the Union is going to, open quote, conquer, close quote, enough of those territories that it will fall under the provisions that come with sub-Article 2A. Okay. So read the Emancipation Proclamation. The other thing that you can do to support Juneteenth is to actually go and look at the 511 documentaries and videos that are available from persons who are direct descendants of those folks. And then just on a very practical day-to-day level, how can you support Juneteenth, especially with the current legislation on the floor, but now these beautiful provisions that in district courts we have to push back against federal mandates, is to make sure that the language is in alignment with freedom and to work and advocate for policy that is in alignment with freedom, right? You do what Juneteenth did, complicated ending, but then go begin.
Yeah. And so, in the words of our great Audre Lorde, until all of us are free.
None of us are free.
Indeed. It's all connected. Thank you for spending some time with us, and we hope you have a better understanding of what Juneteenth was. Y'all take care. Be an ally.